Hello there, my name is Beth Gaff, and I am the technology trainer here at the Peabody Public Library. And first off, I just want to let you know that this class is geared to go at your pace, which means that you can go away from this, walk away from this, and come back to this later at any time. You're under no obligation to sit through this class all in one setting. These classes can get pretty big, and I don't want anybody to feel like they're not going to be able to start it over once they start. This particular class that we're going to be discussing today is something that I've had a lot of inquiries about here lately, so I thought maybe it would be a good idea for us to have a stream class about some of these types of features. Today we're going to be talking about online banking, taxes online, and credit card accounts. So I just want everybody to be aware that online banking is not for everyone, and I understand that, as well as taxes online and accessing your credit card accounts as well using the internet. But for those of you that are interested in learning a little bit more about that, then this class is right up your alley. So without further ado, I want to welcome you to the online banking class. These are the items that we will be discussing during our class today. And some of these items are what is online banking. We're going to be talking about the advantages of online banking, the disadvantages of online banking, as well as getting started with online banking. We're going to be talking about managing your credit card accounts online, getting those credit card accounts set up, as well as being able to make payments, check your account information, and things along those lines. What you need to know about taxes and tax time, why understanding your taxes is important. We're going to go over some tax terms and types of taxes, different types of filing federal forms, deductions, self-employment, reasons why you might not be able to pay, due dates and extensions, opportunities, people that maybe have failed to file, breaking the bank, of course, and as well as keeping track of accounts using Microsoft Excel. Something I want you to definitely keep in mind is that the library is not an accounting firm by any means. I'm just here to kind of help you and guide you along. So if you have questions about this kind of stuff, then we are able to address those. So just wanted you to be aware that if you have questions about your taxes, and we're going to talk about that again later, you may want to get in contact with your accountant or whoever might be preparing those taxes for you. Again, this is just a guide for you, and the library is not an accountant service, nor do we prepare taxes or anything along those lines. So I didn't want anybody to be confused on that. So we're going to go ahead and get started right now. Perhaps you've heard people talking about online banking, but you weren't sure if it was for you. Online banking is very common nowadays, and it's really easy to set up. Simply put, online banking means using a computer or mobile device to transfer money. You can pay bills, view your account balance, or really you can do just about any other kind of banking activity. Generally, if you already have a bank account, you'll want to set up an online banking account with that same bank. Most well-known banks make it easy to do this from your home computer. So from your home computer, you would be able to type in whatever your bank is. So if you're using Chase, you could type in Chase Bank. And on the next slide, I'm going to kind of demonstrate this a little bit more for you. But you would just type in Chase or Fifth Third or whatever bank you're using, ProFed, and then you would have to go in and create an account. By creating an account, you're basically just proving that you are who you say you are. You'd have to obviously know your account information as well as possibly your social security number or address and things along those lines. If you have questions about it, you could probably go to your bank and they would probably be more than happy to assist you with that. Or if you'd like, you can come see me and I would be more than happy to help you get an account created. But also for those people that use their smartphones or tablets a little bit more than they may be using their computer. This is very useful for that because all they would have to do is go to the App Store itself, whether you're using an iPhone, an Android, so that would be either your Google Play Store or your Apple Store or whatever device you're using, and you should be able to get a hold of your bank's app. Now, once you download that app, then you would be able to log into it. I believe most of them allow you to create the account from there as well. But if you're having problems with that, you may want to just do it from the computer as far as creating the account. Once it's created, then you would be able to log into it from wherever you are. This is an account that follows you. It doesn't follow the device. So just because you created it on a computer doesn't mean that you have to be on that computer every single time you want to be in it. You can log into your account from any mobile device or computer. So it doesn't matter. Again, this account follows you and it doesn't follow the device. I'm hoping that makes sense and I hope you understand that. If you don't, please get in contact with me and I'd love to explain that to you a little bit more thorough. Also keep in mind that is since you are creating a new account, you're definitely going to want to write this information down. So if you create yourself a new ID and a password to be able to get into your credit cards or your bank accounts or anything along those lines, then you're going to want to make sure that you've gotten it written down. This way you have easy access to get into it the next time you're ready. There's nothing worse than creating an account, not writing it down, thinking we're going to remember, and then not remembering and not being able to access our account. So it's only a few extra steps, and it's definitely going to be worth it in the long run. Now, on the next slide, I'm going to I don't have a Chase account, but we're going to use Chase as an example. And that way you can kind of see how the whole process works.
Okay, so I thought I would take a minute and just show you a little bit about how the online banking process works. So as you can see right now, I am on Google, just plainly on Google, and I'm going to type in Chase Bank, and I'm going to hit enter. By hitting enter, now I'm able to kind of go into some of these. Now, keep in mind that when you are on the internet and you're looking for certain types of accounts, you want to kind of stay away from the ones that actually have the word ad on them. This is just more of an advertisement. So usually the ones down below those are the ones you want to access. So I'm going to access the one that does not say ad on it. It just says thechase.com. So I'm going to push on that. And now it's kind of redirecting me to Chase. And here you can see Bank with Chase, Chase for Business, find a credit card, buy a home, buy a car, and it continues. Save money. It just really depends on your bank on what they offer. So I'm going to go with Bank with Chase. I am going to go ahead and put my zip in. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and click on the sign in. If I had an account with Chase, then I would be able to go ahead and sign in with the information that I already have. But if I didn't, I could go into sign up now. And here is my process of getting signed up. It is going to take you a minute or two. So you want to definitely make sure that you can do this all in one setting. And actually, I do believe I have an account with Chase. So let me, mine are actually, let's see if this lets me in. Mine are more of the credit cards, but I am going to go ahead. It doesn't recognize my computer here, so I'm going to see if I can't get myself a little activated here, and then I'll be able to show you a little bit more about this. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right, so I'm logging into my Chase account, but this is just kind of showing you a little bit about these are credit cards that I have and things like that. So you would be able to go into your account as well and start looking at your information and things along those lines. So I just wanted you, now again, I am a ProFed bank member. So I would click on ProFed, and from here I would be able to log into my account. If I don't have an account, then I would be able to create it from here. So you definitely want to take your time on this. You definitely want to write down your information and things along those lines. If you're having any questions or conflicts or issues, please get in contact with me, whether that's through the phone, through Facebook, through whatever. That way I can make sure to get you on the right path here. So I hope you have a better understanding now of the way that signing up for an account through online banking works. And this works the same way through your credit card systems as well.
Let's talk about some of those advantages of banking online. Online banking has many advantages. First off, it's usually free. And you can even save, it can even save you money. By paying bills online, you won't have to buy any stamps or anything like that. So it's free to sign up, and you are also able to save yourself a little bit of money by saving on those stamps. You'll make fewer trips to the bank, which can also save you some time. So instead of actually going to the bank to possibly deposit that check or withdraw money, you might be able to do it straight from the app or the online website to help you. You don't have to worry about getting into the bank before they close, so that's kind of nice. Online banking can be done anytime, day or night. So you can make sure that your banking can be 24/7, and that's very, very, very nice. Many banks also offer mobile apps for smartphones and tablets, so you can make transfers or check your balance when you're on the go. So if you are out and about, then you would be able to check and see how much money you have for that shopping trip that you're about to take. Most of your accounts can link. So if you have more than one credit card and they're through the same, and I think we saw that with my Chase account that I was on there. If you have more than one account, then you would be able to get in there and make sure that those link together. And you want to make sure that on the computer you have a little bit more protection because you're using an antivirus as you're doing that. So you do have a little bit more protection by using the computer than any other access as far as being able to obtain all of your information. So there are lots of advantages of online banking. So I didn't want anybody to be discouraged, and there are other ones, but these are the main ones here. Is it's free. You don't have to make as many trips to the bank. It's going to save you some money, and the bank closure isn't going to affect you whatsoever. They have mobile apps that are available to you. As well as being able to not worry about getting there before they close and things along those lines. So this is gonna be a lot easier for you. So if you have any questions about this, definitely get in contact with me so we can go over them. So just like anything else, you're gonna have some disadvantages of online banking as well. And some of those disadvantages. So on the other hand, there are some disadvantages. Not all payments can be made online. You may still have to write some checks for rent or other types of payments. It just kind of depends on how you pay for your mortgage and things along those lines. If you don't have an internet connection at home, this may not be a convenient option for you. This all does require internet, so you would have to have an internet connection to be able to get going. Now, keep in mind, with that being said, that you can use your local library to access your accounts. And jumping down here on our list, you just want to make sure you log out of those accounts before you leave that public location. Okay. Some online banks may not have brick and mortar locations, which may make it more difficult if you have a problem with your account. So keep that in mind. Some banks you can't physically go to. They're just not available to you. You would have to drive some distance to get there. So you definitely want to keep that in mind when you're thinking about finding a bank or creating an account with a bank, that if you do have issues that require your presence to be there, that you're going to want to find one that's kind of around you. Of course, just like anything else, you take the potential risk of somebody hacking into your account or possibly getting some spam information. Spam is just kind of like your junk mail that you get in your email accounts. Hacking is when somebody's actually accessed your account when you're not around. So you always have that potential with any kind of online type of an account that you have created. Again, keep in mind logging out of those accounts in public locations is going to be very important to you. I know for a fact that here at the library that when we have people that use accounts, a lot of times, and I'm not talking banking, I'm just talking accounts in general, whether it's social media, email, whatever it may be, people that their time is up or what have you, and they log out of their library access, but they haven't logged out of their account, and the next person that gets on that computer logs into their stuff, and boom, all that person's information has just popped up for them. So definitely want to make sure that you're logging out of those accounts. Identity theft is always an issue that goes along with your hacking. So you want to make sure that you're definitely with a bank that has some identity theft protection for you, as well as the possibility of your antivirus being able to offer that to you through your computer system. And again, computer protection. You just want to make sure that your computer is protected because you are putting a lot of personal information out there and you don't want those to get into the wrong hands. So those were the advantages and the disadvantages, and that was all about online banking. If you have any more questions about that, please get in contact with me. Appointments here at the library are free. They don't cost you anything. You can't beat that. So give me a call here and we can get you all set up. We're going to now move on to credit cards. Just one more thing I want to say about getting started with online banking. If you decide you're interested in online banking, here are a few steps you'll want to take to get started. And we kind of went through these. Google the name of your bank to find its website. You can create an account online. Even if you already have a bank account, you'll need to create a username and a password so you can log in. Make sure to choose strong passwords. You don't want strangers accessing your bank account. And make sure you're writing them down. Once you create an account and log in, familiarize yourself with the different options. Most banks allow you to check your account balance, transfer money between accounts, view bank statements, and much more. If you have a mobile device, download your bank's app, then log in with the same username and password you created earlier. See if your bills can be paid online. Chances are most, if not all, of your utility companies allow you to set up online bill payments. You can also set up automatic payments to ensure your bills are paid on time. Set up direct deposit for paychecks. Many workplaces can deposit your paychecks directly into your account each pay period. And that's it. Now that you're all set with online banking, you can begin enjoying those many advantages that are offered to you. And all of this kind of goes along with the credit cards accounts as well. So actually paying accounts online is one thing you can do with your credit cards. You can link your credit cards to some of those shopping type, like Walmart and Amazon or eBay or really any kind of department store that you are into, you'd be able to link your credit card to. You can also link your credit card to what's called a PayPal account. PayPal account allows you to pay various locations using one service. So that's definitely another option. Having different accounts, you'd be able to log into all those different accounts. If you have more than one card service through the same account, for instance, Chase or what's another one? Capital One, whatever other ones you have, you'd be able to link those together. Most of your credit card accounts do offer you some support. So if you're having issues or difficulty with the app or the website itself, then you'd be able to contact their customer support and get help for that. Again, just like the banking and the banking, credit cards also use the same online banking advantages and disadvantages. So you're going to want to be careful of those hackers and things along those lines. It's the same concept, just different types of accounts. So keep that in mind as you keep going here. Don't let any of this discourage you. It really is a fantastic feature. You would be gaining a whole lot from having an account online and things along those lines. So if you're really thinking about doing this, but you're a little leery still and I haven't convinced you, it is quite okay. Again, like I've said a few different times now, you can get in contact with me and I can help you, or just call me here at the library, and all my information's at the beginning of the class. And we can definitely get you all situated. So definitely want to use all of our resources to the best of our ability. Okay, before we get started on the tax section of the string class that we're doing today, I want to let you know about the disclosure about taxes and tax preparation. Taxes do vary from person to person. What we're going to talk about today, these are just examples of tax preparation and deductions. The Peabody Public Library is not an accounting service, nor do we prepare taxes in any way. This is just information and not intended to take the place of any accounting you have to do. We are not a tax agency. Again, not all situations are the same, and you definitely want to check with your accountant or your Prepare service for more information regarding your tax situation. This is only a guide to help you in the right direction. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so what you need to know about taxes and tax time. If you've ever spent any time filling out a tax form, you know just how frustrating and complicated it can be. Over the last several years, it's become much easier to pay your taxes online, and while that might sound like yet another complication, paying your taxes this way is actually simpler than with traditional paper forms. So here are just a few advantages of paying your taxes online. You won't have to fill out any forms by hand, which can save you a lot of time. When you use tax preparation software, you won't need to do any extra math. Your computer will do it for you. You won't have to send your forms through the mail, which also means you'll get your tax refund back a little bit more quickly. And best of all, paying your federal taxes online is usually free. So let's look at the basics of how all this works. When you do this, you can choose from an e-file option. There's actually two ways to pay your taxes online. The first option is to use a fillable PDF form, which is basically an electronic version of a regular tax form. And that's kind of what this picture is here, coming to us from Forbes.com. You'd be able to fill in each one of those spaces as you go. This might be a little easier to fill out than a paper form, but it's still going to require a lot of time and effort. So keep that in mind. None of this is quick. That's why I recommend that your second option, IRS-approved free file tax preparation software. Most of these applications run in your web browser, so there's no need to download or install anything on your computer. When you use an app like this, you won't have to fill out a lot of complicated forms or do any extra math. Instead, you'll answer a series of questions about your income and finances and let the software do the rest of the work. So some popular tax preparation apps you can use are TurboTax, TaxAct, TaxSlayer. You could just go to Google and type in tax preparation and see what you get. Now, if you do decide to use some tax software, whatever software you choose, you'll follow the same basic steps to file your taxes online. Before you get started, make sure you have all your relevant tax documents, such as your W-2 form. Next, follow the instructions that appear. Some questions will ask you to provide personal details, such as your name, address, social security number, while others will require you to type the specific numbers from your tax documents. When you're finished, you'll have the chance to review your tax return for any possible errors. You can then submit the return directly through the software. In some cases, you may need to use an electronic filing PIN number to submit your taxes through this way. This is basically a digital version of your signature. If you don't already have a PIN number, you can get one from the IRS's website. Also keep a note, at some point almost all tax software will prompt you to upgrade to paid version rather than using the free file version. While paid versions may offer more features such as audit protection, remember that you're not required to use anything but the free version to file federal taxes. So that was all about your federal. So what about my state income tax? If you're also required to pay state income tax, you should be able to do so with the same tax software. And because the software can use the same details from your federal tax form, you can save yourself even more time when filing. However, the rules for e-filing can vary from state to state, so this won't always be free. If no free option is available, you can pay a small fee to submit your state taxes through the tax software, which is usually less than $20. Now, if you do want to learn a little bit more about filing taxes online, you can check with these particular resources: IRS Free File, which I've listed here for you, Free Tax Preparation Help, and Where's My Refund? IRS Free File, this is learn more about different file options from the IRS. Free Tax Preparation Help, you may qualify for free tax preparation help through the IRS VITA program. And Where's My Refund? This is where you can track that refund. So, a lot of information, but well worth it in the long run. Taxes are compulsory contributions to the state you live in and to the federal government. by the government to pay for things that we as a society need but can't pay for individually. That includes everything from roads you drive on to law enforcement to the salary of the President of the United States. These taxes aren't optional, and trying to hide or outrun them never really ends well. Don't believe me? Just Google celebrity tax evasion. Plus 90%, 96% of Americans believe it's your civic duty to pay taxes, so the best thing to do is get a basic understanding of taxes so that you can pay them accurately and on time with minimum stress and pain, financial or emotional. So why is understanding taxes important? Understanding taxes will save you when filing. Collectively, Americans overpay the government by $945 million every year. That's about $400 per household. If you understand how taxes work, you can avoid giving too much to Uncle Sam. Understanding taxes will also save you at work. At your job, understanding how taxes work can help you save hundreds on transportation costs or childcare by having your costs of getting to work or having your child care taken out of your paycheck pre-tax. But more than that, understanding taxes will also help you budget better. You'll be able to be more accurately planned with your monthly and yearly spending if you understand how much you'll be paying. No one likes financial surprises. So how taxes work? When you pay taxes, the money goes to the coffers of the local, state, and federal governments. That money is then pooled and allocated to various services and projects ranging from regulatory agencies that ensure your medicines are safe and that your roads are filled with potholes. Aren't filled with potholes. Sorry about that. The tax system is complicated, but many of the regulations are there to save you and spend time wisely. For example, if you take money out of your 401k for anything besides retirement, it's really not good. The government will punish you by levying a tax penalty on top of ordinary taxes. But if you decide to donate a lot to charity, the government will reward you by lowering your tax bill. So the whole point is to make sure that you understand why your taxes are important and that you understand how to read your taxes, what you're paying for, and how you can contribute and not contribute to certain things. We're now going to talk about tax terms and the most common types of taxes. Here's some basic terms for you. Withholding. Withholding is the amount taken out of each paycheck in order to pay your income tax incrementally over the year. You designate exactly what your withholding will be when you fill out your W-4 form at your job. A deduction. This is kind of like a tax discount. This is a dollar amount subtracted from your taxable income. It reduces how much you will be taxed on. The IRS. The Internal Revenue Service. This is the government agency responsible for collecting taxes from you and businesses. Capital gains. Profit from investments into a capital asset such as stocks, bonds, or real estate. It's the difference between a higher selling price and a lower purchase price. For example, if you buy a stock for $10 and you sell it for $20, you made a capital gain of $10. So those are just a few of the terms. Some other terms are payroll tax, income tax, sales tax, capital gains tax, property tax. And those are actually the different types of taxes. So your payroll tax, now again, there are many types of taxes, but these are just the ones that you'll come across a little bit more commonly. Your payroll tax, this is everything that is taken out of your paycheck. It includes federal and state income taxes, Social Security tax withholding, and Medicare tax withholding, and various local taxes, which may include city, county, or school district taxes, and state disability unemployment insurance. Income tax, this is a tax on the amount you earn every year paid to the government, paid to the federal and state government. If you have a salaried job, this amount is withheld from each paycheck. Then at the end of the year, you calculate how much you should owe for the year, and either government refunds you because you've already paid too much, or you pay the government if too little was taken out. If you are a freelancer, you should pay quarterly taxes, estimated taxes that you pay every quarter by the 15th of every April, June, September, and January for the previous tax year. This is a lot like withholding, so you don't get one huge tax bill in April. If not, the responsibility is on you to pay what you owe in full, which can include a non-payment penalty in April. If you make more than $1,000 per year in freelance income, we suggest putting at least 30% of your income into a special savings account and checking in with your tax advisor as soon as possible to make sure you're setting aside the right amount. And you can learn more about taxes for freelancers by just typing in taxes for freelancers on your Google website. You also have sales tax. This is levied by your state government. You pay this almost every time you buy something, unless you live in Delaware, Alaska, Montana, New Hampshire, or Oregon, which have no sales tax. It ranges from 8.75% in California to 4% in Hawaii. You'll see what you pay in sales tax on your receipt at restaurants or from retailers. Once you've paid, and you don't need to worry anymore about this tax. Capital gains tax. This is taxed specifically based on what you made off of your investments this year. If you bought a stock for $80 and you sold it for $100, the government will take you on the $20 you made. If you sell this investment before you've held it for the entire year, then you'll have to pay ordinary income tax, short-term capital gains. To encourage long-term investing, the government has made it possible for you to qualify for lower long-term capital gain taxes if you hang on to the investment for a year or longer. You pay these with other taxes in April. And then you have property taxes. And this tax is on the value of your home and the property it sits on, or other properties you might have, like a mountain cabin. You've been taxed every year whether or not you own it free and clear, or you're still paying the mortgage. As long as your name is on the deed, the tax man will be a-comin'. This tax is paid to your local government and usually goes to local schools, law enforcement, roads, and more. You pay this tax semi-annually, and often it is included in your monthly mortgage payments, so you don't have to cough up the funds in a lump sum in April. So there is a lot of information when it comes to that. What can you do about your taxes now? So now that you know how taxes work, you're probably wondering, what the heck do I do? These are the general principles that you should follow to make sure you pay just what you need to and no more, and that doing taxes is as painless as possible. Get your withholding or your quarterly taxes right. As mentioned earlier, a portion of each paycheck you receive is withheld to pay for taxes. That portion is logically called your withholding. While you might miss that money, the upside to withholdings is that taking a little bit throughout the year is much less painful than having to pay $5,000 or more in taxes all at once. If you have a salary job, on your first day of work, you would fill out a W-4, which tells your company how much they should take out of your paycheck for taxes. If you fill it out wisely, you're more likely to pay almost exactly what you owe in taxes, instead of paying too much or too little. As you shouldn't hesitate to refill out your W-4 if your situation changes or you realize you're withholding way too much or too little. You can learn how to fill out a W-4 form by just typing that into your Google search engine. Get everything you can tax-free. Your flow of money usually goes something like this. You get paid, you're taxed on what you're paid, use the leftover money to buy things. But for certain things like saving for retirement, paying for childcare, paying for medical expenses, or buying a subway pass, you can use pre-tax income. That means if you send $1,000 from your paycheck to your 401k, it won't be taxed on that money. Hello, tax savings. Read up on all the ways you can save on taxes by just typing in "how can I save on taxes" in my Google search. And lastly, you can stay organized. The key to relatively painless tax season is organization. Even if you have a tax preparer, she will charge you less if you hand her exactly what she needs neatly organized instead of dumping stacks of paper on her desk. Keeping track of your papers is especially important if you itemize your deductions. Here's what you should save. You should save government confirmation of your return and your refund, any records of charitable donations, which includes receipts, large medical and dental bills, records of business or job hunting costs, forms from your job showing income you've made, purchases, sales, and improvements to real estate property, all actions in your investment and IRA accounts. Most online brokerages will keep these records for you, but never hurts to keep those extras. And remember, taxes are complicated. We certainly can't deny that. But millions of Americans, like you, file and pay them every year. Understanding the basics can help you save a lot of money over time and save you the stress too. So I really hope this was informative for you. If I spoke a little too quickly or you missed something, you can definitely rewind this and listen to it again, or just give me a call and we can go over it together. So that was the most common types of taxes. A little bit more information that we needed about all the taxes, but I'd rather you have more information than not enough. All right, let's talk a little bit about filing federally. Tax day comes around just once a year. It's April 18th. It was April 18th in 2016. Not sure what it is going to be, but it's typically always in April. Staying on top of taxes can feel like a year-round job. Whether you file on your own or use tax professional, you need to know what your filing obligations might be and how your choices can affect your bottom line when it comes to money. So we're going to talk about things that you need to know about taxes. You may not have to file a federal income tax return. Not every person who receives income during the calendar year has to file a federal income tax return. There are a number of factors that affect whether you have to file, including how much you earned and the source of that income, as well as your filing status and your age. For most taxpayers, the quick cheat sheet formula is this: find your standard deduction and add your personal exemption to that number. So you can find those numbers through the IRS. So you can kind of play around with their practicing as far as filling out tax form. Even if you don't need to file a federal income tax return, you may still want to take advantage of tax breaks and credits. Tax credits are dollar-for-dollar reductions in your tax due and are usually more beneficial than tax deductions, which simply reduce your taxable income. Additionally, sometimes, as with the American Opportunity Credit, you can get money back with credits even if you don't owe on your taxes. If you're still in school, you may be able to claim the American Opportunity Credit for qualified expenses, which is generally tuition and fees. The maximum credit is $2,500 per eligible student, and up to 40% may be refundable. The Earned Income Tax Credit is a benefit for working people with low to moderate income. Despite popular opinion, having kids isn't a prerequisite, but it does increase the benefit. You can claim a credit of up to $503 with no qualifying children and up to $6,242 with 3 or more qualifying children. And then you can figure out those rates by going to the Earned Income Tax Credit rates and limits for 2017. So you'd be able to plug that into your search engine and it would get you in there. So just keep that in mind when it comes to filing federal forms. Like I've said from the beginning, everybody's situation is different. So you definitely want to check and see if this situation is going to be for you. Let's briefly talk about tax deductions. You don't have to itemize to take advantage of certain tax deductions like the student loan interest deduction. To take advantage of most deductions, you do have to itemize, and most taxpayers, 2 out of 3, don't itemize. But all is not lost. The IRS still allows for certain deductions called adjustments to income that you don't have to itemize to claim. That handful of deductions can be found on the front page of your 1040 form. Among the most popular are the student loan interest deduction, the IRA deduction, and the moving expenses deduction. So you do have quite a few different types of deductions that you can look into to see if they're going to benefit you. You definitely want to take advantage of those types of deductions. So you want to check in and see what deductions are going to work the best for you, and how you're going to be able to apply those to what you're doing. So this was just something a little brief about tax deductions and how you can manage those, how you can get to those. Again, you could refer to the IRS website for more information about tax deductions, or even talk to your tax preparer or your accountant. They'd be able to explain your situation better and let you know what deductions are available to you. Let's talk a little bit about self-employment. I love this picture. I love my boss because I'm self-employed. It's fantastic. If you're self-employed, you likely need to make estimate payments. Their tax system is considered pay-as-you-go. If you're employed, your employer will withhold taxes from your paycheck and turn those over to the Internal Revenue Service, or the IRS, for you as you get paid. At the end of the year, you'll either owe more, break even, or be owed a refund, depending on your financial situation. But what if you don't have an employer, or you get paid without having federal income taxes withheld? The IRS expects you to do the work and pay up if you expect to owe more than $1,000 at tax time. This applies not only to self-employed, but also to landlords. S corporation shareholders, partners in a partnership, and taxpayers with significant investments. Almost anyone that gets a 1099 form. To make estimate payments, you'll use Federal Form 1040-ES, which is estimated tax for individuals. That is downloadable as a PDF. You can do estimated taxes that can be paid quarterly. If you skip a payment or pay late, you may be subject to a penalty. So you're just going to want to keep that in mind when you're ready to do that. You should file a return even if you can't pay your tax bill. Penalties apply for failure to file a return and failure to pay your taxes. To reduce the hit to your wallet from penalties, be sure to file your return even if you're going to owe and you can't pay up. They do have options available to you, including payment by credit card and a payment plan with the IRS, if you don't have the ability to pay your entire tax bill by tax day. So just keep that in mind. Even though you're self-employed and you're making all this cash flow, you still got to pay Uncle Sam. So really the best way to do that is to go ahead and put that money aside, and just kind of have a little nest building up. That way at the end of the year, you've already put the money aside and you don't have to come up with it. It's already there. But if that's not feasible and you need every dollar as you get it, then you're going to want to make sure to meet those due dates. And we're going to be talking about that next, and getting those taxes paid for yourself, because there's nothing worse than getting a penalty from the IRS. Am I right? I'm right. So just keep that in mind when you're filing your taxes. So the IRS works a tad bit different than that utility bill that you may possibly be late on or trying to pay for. Okay, the IRS doesn't like it. They will penalize you for it. Due dates matter. If you don't file and pay by your due dates, you can get socked with penalties and interest, which can add up quickly. Your employer and financial institutions have their own set of due dates to get info to you. The IRS also has due dates. There are limits on how much time can pass before the IRS may no longer access and collect on federal income taxes, sometimes called the statute of limitations. Here's the kicker. If you don't file your return, there is no statute of limitations. That means that the IRS can assess and collect at any time. To avoid that result, file your return as soon as possible, even if it's past the due date. If you need to request an extension, you can do so right up to the due date. And we're going to talk about extensions next. But these due dates definitely do matter. The IRS doesn't play around. They're not going to wait. They want their money just as well as you wanted your money to begin with. So you want to make sure that you're getting those due dates and paying those taxes and making sure you're getting all of that filed and getting taken care of so you don't get hit with penalties and interest. An extension of time to file is not the same as an extension of time to pay. So keep that in mind when it comes to extensions. If you're not ready to file your tax return by tax day, you can request an automatic extension. The most common way to file for an extension is with a federal form 4868, application for automatic extension of time to file U.S. individual income tax return. This is downloadable as a PDF. But other opportunities are available. Remember that an extension of time to file is not an extension of time to pay. There's no cost to file an extension, but if you expect to owe at tax time, you should make a payment with your extension request in order to avoid interest and penalties. If you can't pay, file on time or with a timely extension anyway. So that kind of goes back to you should file a return even if you can't pay your tax bill. Remember when we talked about that earlier? Because those penalties apply for failure to file a return and failure to pay your taxes. So to reduce the hit to your wallet for penalties, be sure to file your return even if you're going to owe or you can't pay. And again, you can get those different options through the IRS's website. They also offer you different kinds of payment options. So keep that in mind when you're getting ready to pay those taxes. Okay. All right. So once the year end passes, you still have more opportunity to reduce your tax bill. To take advantage of most tax breaks, you have to act by the end of the year. There's one big and really helpful exception. Funding your individual retirement account, which is your IRA, by rule, you can contribute to your IRA in your filing year and make it count for the previous tax year so long as you act by tax day. For example, you can fund your IRA through April 18th, 2016 and claim the break for 2015. You can claim a tax deduction above the line so you don't need to itemize in order to take the deduction. For contributions made to your traditional IRA, but not on a Roth IRA, you can make those contributions all the way up to tax day. Be sure to tell your financial advisor that the contribution, what the contribution year is, and that way it gets coded properly. You can contribute up to $5,500 or the amount of your taxable compensation, whichever is smaller, to your traditional and Roth IRAs. And don't forget about a spousal IRA. If you file a joint return, you and your spouse can make an IRA contribution even if only one of you has a taxable compensation. So just keep that in mind when you're getting ready to do the extensions. Again, this is for the opportunities and the taxes as well. If you fail to file and pay, the government can take some pretty drastic measures, even seizing your passport. I'm not big on scare tactics because I don't think they're helpful. But it is important to understand that taxes are serious business, and if you don't follow the rules, the government does have some tricks up their sleeve to make you comply. If you owe back taxes to the IRS, they can keep your refund, levy your wages or your bank account, and even have the State Department revoke your passport. All that said, in most cases, the IRS is willing to work with you to move you into compliance. Don't ignore letters from the IRS. Open your mail. And if you do find yourself in a bind, get some help. So, If you fail to file, you're going to want to probably get in contact with the IRS, find out what you need to do. If you're afraid to do that and you have an accountant, then maybe they can handle that situation for you, or even maybe your tax preparer. But by all means, don't put yourself in a rut. Be sure to file those taxes. A good tax preparer doesn't have to break the bank. I don't do my own taxes. I used to prepare my own returns, but as I got busy, I had to make tough choices, like squeeze in time to do my own taxes or sleep. I went with sleep. I use a tax pro at tax time because it makes my life easier. I realize that hiring a tax pro isn't for everyone, but when making the choice, don't assume that hiring a good tax pro will be complicated or expensive. Pricing is important, but don't hire just on cost. You definitely want to ask questions, get a referral from a friend, and check out local ads. Finally, tax pros who prepare returns for compensation must have a PTIN. The IRS has a database that can help you find one near you. So you want to make sure that they are within the rights of the IRS, as well as maybe shop around and find out what the different rates are depending upon the tax prepare service that you're using. So you just want to be sure that you're not getting ripped off. Nobody likes getting ripped off, and at tax time it's definitely no exception. So just check into all of your options and the things that you can do. This way you don't have to worry about being one of those people.
Okay, well, I thought I would take a moment and kind of show you how Excel could benefit you when opening up an online banking account or a credit card account, or if you just want to keep track of them on the side and you don't even want to have an account through the internet with them. So you would first, and there's actually a couple of different ways. I'm going to use Microsoft Office first and go into Excel. And from here, I'm actually able to label it. And what I might want to put in here, this is my checking account information. Now, what I can do with that is I can actually kind of make it stand out a bit and make it a tad bit bigger so I'm able to read it. Let me get that one in there. There we go. And now I can start putting in my transaction date, maybe my check number, the amount, and my balance. So let me go in here and change some of these. Now I can come in between and double click and it's going to pull these out. And these pull these out. This will pull it out. Excel will pull it out as far as the biggest word in there. So right now we have checking account information in this very first active cell. So therefore it's trying to pull it out that far. It's okay. We can move it back in. But that's by default. It automatically does that. But you can move these in and out like this. So it's not too hard to do. We need the day. Oh, we need a description. So we're going to insert another one. And we need a description. Oh, missing a letter there. Okay, so here's where, and I can go ahead and bold these and maybe make them a little bigger. So now I can come in here and start putting in my transactions. So let's say we're going to put in my transaction from 2017 in November. I'm getting ready for Christmas, basically. And I can put in here that it was a Walmart purchase and I purchased some socks. My check number is, I'm just making something up here. The amount of my socks were $5.50. Now I'd probably want to insert a tab here so I can put my monthly balance to start. And we'd put that right here. So let's say our monthly balance is $14.96. Now we can begin to start putting formulas in here. So my amount is $5.50 and I want to subtract that from my balance. So here I can actually put in, and this one is E5 So I'm going to put E5 in there, and I'm going to subtract that from, actually, D5, and I'm going to subtract that from D6 and so on. So I can do it like that. I'm going to close that up, and I'm going to hit enter. So now it's automatically going to subtract my amount. Now I can actually put this, actually the formula is in here. I can put this formula in here and have my balance kind of stretch out, and this will change as I go. So now I've got a formula in here that's going to automatically subtract my amount from here. Now if it was a deposit, then I would need to readjust it a little bit. At this point, these are all subtractions, so I need to change that. So let's go ahead and do another subtraction type, and this time I went and got gas, and I used my debit, so I wouldn't have to put a check number in there if I was using my debit. If I want to keep it the same, then I would just go ahead and move it off to the right, but actually I think I want all these in the center. And my gas was $25, so it's automatically subtracted me, okay? But now let's say that I'm ready to put in a deposit, and I don't really need to put anything there. Now, if I put in $125, it's going to subtract it. So I actually need to change this to a add. So I'm going to add in D8. It's just a matter of where they are, and hit enter. So it went ahead and added that in for me. Okay. Now let's see what happens when I go in to do another transaction. And they'll say this time it was for lunch. We went to Ruby Tuesdays, and it was for lunch, and I used my debit, and I paid, let's say it was $28 for lunch. Okay, so we can see how that went ahead and subtracted it. So what I need to add in, here's my formula. Anytime I want to add something, I'm going to put a plus. So the equal sign indicates that this is going to be equal to whatever I put in these parentheses. So in this particular parenthesis, I want it to do E7. This is E7 plus D8. So they've taken this amount plus this amount and given us this amount. So if you have any questions about that, you can contact me here at the library. Let's go ahead and do a couple of more. Let's say that on 12/3, we went to Best Buy. I used check 5497. And it was for $125. So it is automatically going to subtract them because that is the default that I've put in there originally. So if I want to add them in, and you can see this, how it's doing that. And it's doing it all the way down to wherever I have it. And let's say it's deposit time. Oops. So I'm going to do it on 12/5, and this is a deposit. And we're going to put $225 in. Oops. Now, by default, it's going to subtract it. Okay? But I actually want it to add it. So I am going to change and this is E11 plus D11. Oops. Oh, and it gave me a 0. Why is that? E11. Okay, so it would have to be E10. I do apologize. There's nothing in there, so it wouldn't know what to do. There we go. So I would have to do it with the last previous balance. So now here's my balance, and I was able to add that in. And this would work the same way with your credit cards. So let's say now we're doing it for credit cards. So we can change this to credit card transactions. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and take all this out. We're going to start with our first balance. And on 11/17, I went to Walmart. There would not be a check number. You might want to do a trans description. Maybe want to, put in there exactly what you purchased. Maybe we purchased groceries in the amount of $55. Okay, so here's where I need to put in my formula. Okay, so my beginning balance is $14.96. So equals, I need to take E5, right? And I want to subtract that from D6, and then I'm going to close it up and hit enter. So it automatically subtracts my grocery amount. Okay? So here, let's say that I have another one I want to do. We're going to do 11/22, and we went to Arby's. It was for lunch, and we spent $12.50. Okay, I still don't have a formula. This is my previous balance, so I need to tell it that I want to take this amount and I want to subtract this amount from it. I'm going to close it out, and it's subtracted it out. Now let's say I made a payment. Making a payment on my card. Oops. My payment's due on the 25th. This would be the monthly payment. And you can do yours however you want as far as what you want to say as far as the description goes. And let's say my payment was $35. Okay. So now I need to tell it that I need to add in my payment. Okay. So my credit limit was $14.96 to start with. But now I'm at $14.28. And I actually want to add in my payment. So you can see how it has added that in for me. Okay. Now, once I have these codes in here, I can actually just right click on them, copy, and I can paste. Now this would be a subtraction because that's what that one was. So let's say on the 26th, we went to Longhorn, and this was for dinner. And we spent $65. See how it subtracted that for me? Now this one here is an addition. So if I put that there, it's still going to give me my balance. But let's say I'm making another payment. And this one's for $45. It will add it back in. So we have a few different options we can do this, but this is what Excel is good for. Now let me show you another program because Microsoft Office does cost some money. It's going to cost you a little bit to get going on it, but you can do what's called Google Sheets. And as long as you have a Gmail account, this would be free to you. And it's set up pretty much the exact same way. So once it starts opening, you'll be able to see. We can go into blank, and you can see that it is very, very similar to what we were using before. Okay, so I could do my credit card transactions, same concept. I can change my font size to be a bit bigger. And maybe here I want to put my date, location, description, amount, and balance. Now here I can actually have my credit limit. Let's say my credit limit is $5,000. Okay, so on 11/17, oops, of 17, I went to Walmart. Oops, I'm having typing issues today. Hopefully yours is working out better than mine. The description, I just cannot get it. My fingers are faster than this. Okay, so the description would be shoes. Say I'm there for some shoes. The amount of my shoes are $78. Okay, so here I am going to put my formula in, which is D5, and then I would subtract this one here, put it in parentheses, and hit enter. So there's my balance. Okay, so it does work the same way as Microsoft Office. And what's nice about this is that Google Sheets is universal with Microsoft Excel, so you would be able to open this up in Excel as well. So that's really kind of cool, or vice versa. If you started something in Excel through Microsoft Office and you're somewhere where they don't have that to open, but they do have Google Docs, you could open it straight in Google Docs and can continue editing what you're doing. So this is how Excel is going to be able to help you. And I hope that you get a better understanding of how this works. If you need any further assistance, please don't hesitate to call me. I would love to help you with this. Excel is not hard. It's more of our minds telling us how difficult it really is, but it really isn't all that hard once you get the hang of it. So hopefully this will help you out.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just want to thank you so much for being a part of this stream class. Congratulations, you made it through it. You completed online banking and then some. You should definitely be very proud of yourself and take a deep breath and relax. It is all over. Again, without your participation, we wouldn't be able to stream these videos. So I want to personally thank you for just taking the time to look at these and letting your friends know about them. I don't know if a lot of you know, but in 2016, for the 2 years that we've had stream classes going, we had over 34,000 views. So thank you so much for that exciting information that I'm able to share with you. And I hope that you continue to watch the stream classes, as well as give me some feedback and ideas of classes you would like to see in the future. Hey, thanks so much for being a part of this, and I can't wait to make the classes that you would like to see. So have a great day, and thanks for being a part of it. I just want to take a moment and thank these sites for their information and pictures. Without them, we would not be able to have this class, so thank you very much.